All right, call the meeting to order. Commissioner Gage, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. First item on the agenda is to approve our agenda.
Move. Second.
Motion by Denner, second by Gage. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. This time we'll open the meeting up for any public comment. Is there anyone here to speak to the Broward County Commission this morning? In person, on the phone, via the internet? Anyone at all? Seeing none, we will move on. We'll deal with a special malt beverage hearing for the Richmond Pavilion.
Notice of hearing upon application for sale of alcoholic beverages. Notice is hereby given according to South Dakota Codified Law 35-2-5. A public hearing on the application of a retail on-off sale malt beverage and South Dakota farm wine license is set for the 28th day of March 2023 in the chambers of the Brown County Commissioners, Brown County, South Dakota. At which time any interested persons wishing to register a complaint on their approval may appear. Purchase of a retail on-off sale malt beverage and South Dakota farm wine license for Tanya and Shane Reich, doing business as Richmond Pavilion LLC. Richmond Resort Outlet 2, northeast quarter of Section 25, Township 124 North, Range 65 West of the SPM, Brown County.
All right, is there anyone here to speak to this special malt beverage license issuance? Anyone at all? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Move.
Motion by Weiss, second by Gage. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next up, we have second reading and possible adoption of ordinances 241 and 242.
Ordinance 241, an ordinance amending Title 4, second revision, Brown County ordinance as amended to rezone certain described property, filed by Adam and Ashley Borg.
Is there anyone here to speak to ordinance 241? Any discussion? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt.
Move.
Motion by Feldheim, second by Dennert. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Ordinance 242, an ordinance amending Title 4, second revision, Brown County ordinance as amended to rezone certain described property, filed by Colleen Cullum, for owners Gilbert and Caroline Lowe.
Is there anyone here to speak to ordinance 242? Entertain a motion to approve.
Move. Second.
Motion by Weiss, second by Gage. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next up, we have first reading of ordinance 243.
Ordinance 243, an ordinance entitled, an ordinance to amend portions of Title 4 zoning, Chapter 4.01 definitions, Chapter 4.06 agriculture preservation district, Chapter 4.07 mini ag district, Chapter 4.15 light industrial district, Chapter 4.16 heavy industrial district, all adopted by ordinance 243 as amended of Title 4 zoning ordinance of Brown County, South Dakota.
All right, we have before us a new updated ordinance 243. Mr. Bader, would you like to discuss any part of that as far as the work that you and the Planning Commission have done, or Ross?
I don't know if Ross wants to.
Basically, this is our revised pipeline ordinance, moratorium. Said we were gonna study it, see what we can do, and this is the end result of that.
Did you have changes that you're gonna do on waiver or
We got time for that yet.
proposed?
I'm looking at some definitions, and the waiver part needs to get cleaned up, because basically the way it reads now, it's not clear if the zoning board can grant a variance on the setback without a waiver, and I believe the intention was we're always gonna want a waiver. So if I clean that language up a little bit, that'll be a little more clear.
Okay. I want to thank Planning and Zoning, the department, and also the board for their time and energy and effort put into rewriting these ordinances and and doing what we said we were gonna do after we passed the moratorium on the pipeline last year. So I know a lot of work and effort has gone into it, and I wanna thank everybody involved for that. Scott, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, this is similar to what we originally adopted, and then we took, at the advice of some attorneys, we took out the depth of the pipe. It's one of the major changes in this portion,
Setback, we left it the same,
the 1,500.
1,500.
And that map is what we use to show what is affected from an approximate center line of the pipe.
Sure.
So we used 500 feet, 1,000 feet, 1,500 feet. So there was some research, discussion, options on what setback number to use based on the areas. So we stuck that up, so you guys have that for reference also, for the public.
Okay.
It is a little different now. I've seen that they've kind of changed. There's a couple little elbows here and there, but all in all, it's pretty much the same area. But I noticed on one that I just got recently, I think it's about midway, they kind of, the pipe goes up northerly a little bit in through a quarter, and then comes back down.
Okay.
And that's all I have for information on location.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Weiss.
I just have a question. What's the anticipated process, since this is, as a state highway passing through it and bordering it, that will likely over the future years, and some of them, you know, many years out, but see some need, or at least some anticipated possible growth? How is that gonna be affected by having this buffer zone, this setback in there? What's the process, for instance, if somebody wants to build either a home, a development, or a commercial piece of property?
Okay, so if we have an ordinance that has the waiver and stuff, that's for everything that's existing. And then we put it so that it's documented in the Register of Deeds with every parcel.
Mhm.
If they have a, you know,
Similar to
maybe
a
1,000 feet
similar to
instead
a
of
floodplain.
1,500.
Something like that?
Yeah, and then in the future, as a person buys a piece of property, that would be documented on that property, that easement. And if they wanted to build that, then they would have to allow that waiver
Mhm.
after the fact. Now, either way, it's gonna be documented with the parcels in the Register of Deeds, so that it's not missed or lost.
But it will essentially adversely affect, or potentially, the value of that property going into the future.
Yep. Whether increase or decrease, the easement itself will be documented, and then if there's a waiver, both of them will be
Mhm.
on there. I think that's good for everyone having it on that parcel.
It's important to provide notice so somebody doesn't get surprised, you know,
Yep.
decades in the future.
Well, even the zoning department, you know, if there's supposed to be a certain setback, we need to know that too.
Right.
By that being noted on there, if there was a waiver,
Mhm.
that's not any different than us requesting, like, elevation certificates with floodplain issues and stuff like that.
Right. Okay.
Any other questions?
Go ahead,
Mr.
Dave.
Shump, go ahead, Dave.
So just a couple questions, I mean, you know, versus, you know, 300 or 500 foot setback, why the 1,500? What is the main purpose for that?
Based on the discussions that we had in the planning commission, there was preliminary discussion and then, the meeting itself, and originally, and then the last meeting that we had, last month, I guess, we've had delays with snowstorms, but, that was February. The 1,500 is what was best fitted for that, line.
Okay,
The
so
area.
then where did the wording come from, you know, as far as like under title, like 49, 195.1, 2, 3, 4, what area did you find the word per word verbatim, I guess, as what constitutes a pipeline facility? That might be a Ross question, where you found that, where it says, page 3, I don't know what paragraph it was.
Well, we didn't use the reg, we used the Pipeline Safety Act for our definitions. And then pipeline facility was just a way to shorten it up, using our definition of gas and hazardous liquids. Carbon dioxide actually wasn't defined by Congress, they just refer to carbon dioxide. So pipeline facility is kind of just our catch-all.
So then, is the CO2 pipeline basically the whole meaning of why we're trying to set this setbacks, or is there other pipelines that you were, I guess I shouldn't say targeting, but are there other pipelines that, you are concerned about, possibly in the future of running through, that would, also be required to
It does
potentially
cover
maintain these 1,500 foot setbacks?
hazardous gases and hazardous liquid materials. So if we wanted to write a carbon ordinance, we would have just done that. I don't want to speak for Scott, but I know that he had a pipeline ordinance in the works long before Summit Carbon. It kind of got accelerated, Steve picked up on that. And then the other thing is we exclude natural gas, because natural gas is governed by the Natural Gas Act, which is a whole different set of federal regulations that we don't have as much control over location and routing as we would with carbon or other hazardous liquid materials.
So then, how is this ordinance going to affect all the voluntary easements that have been signed by the property owners?
That's why we put the waiver in.
Okay. Thank you.
Greg?
I'm just curious why the 6-foot depth was taken out.
Because under the federal regulations, under the Act of Congress, states can regulate location and routing. Anything pertaining to construction, safety, other aspects of operating the pipeline was delegated to the Department of Transportation. So we're preempted in all of that. We can't control depth. We can control location and routing.
Janet?
Mike, you mentioned about property value, our properties, there's already 3 sides of commercial, it's right along the highway. It's gonna kill its value. It's not, this pipeline in general, but there's already properties there, things like that. But, right, people should know who's gonna wanna build close to this pipeline, who's gonna want to live next to it. But there's already people there, Fire, Drew Court, us, Leeville, Harms, they're all there. That pipeline's right in the middle of all that. You're right, property values, potential future growth, it's gone. Which way they're going to it.
Well, that PHMSA Act had, the federal had 50 foot from residential houses. That's why we did some research on this and come up with this originally.
Yeah, and I agree, people should know, that there should be, because so many people don't know what's going on here. And there should be something, but we're just looking at, again, the location of where they're proposing for this. Is gonna squash future development west of Aberdeen, right outside, a mile out, at least a mile.
We understand, we've heard all the arguments, believe me. Any other comments, questions? Scott, anything more to add?
Nope.
Any other commissioners have any questions, comments?
Oh, I do want to add, thank you for the moratorium, I know you're supporting it, so this is just one more thing, but.
Any other comments? Anyone out there on the phone or online that would like to comment? This is only first reading, so we will be having another hearing on this. If anyone has any questions or comments, Commissioner Weiss?
Just a note to clarify, the understanding, the moratorium has a 1-year sunset with a potential for another 1-year extension, but it's not something that's perpetual, it goes on forever. The part of the responsibility of the moratorium was to provide a pause for the Planning and Zoning Commission and Department to do exactly what they've done, is determine what we have for a say in the routing, and what we think is reasonable based on the research, which I appreciate, because that was one of the sticking points that I had, is to make sure from my years of experience that we're not arbitrary, that we're not picking numbers, we have reasons for what we're doing, and I believe we have that. And so, the potential for adopting this ordinance is part of our responsibility with the hard work of the Planning and Zoning Commission and our department to get us down the process to say, what can we regulate, what can we influence, and what's reasonable for us to put into ordinance in order to do that. Is that fair about where we're at and where we're going?
I totally agree. It gives us information as to how we arrived at our logic in writing the ordinance, and the justification in our minds of why we chose the numbers, the setbacks, and so on. So
There's a lot of research and reading and so forth that went into this, and these weren't just fictitious numbers pulled out of the air that we come up with, you know, originally for the depth or for proposed setbacks. A lot of discussion went into that.
And through that research, we clearly
Just so
found out
people
what we have, where we have jurisdiction and where we don't, and what we can and can't do, and now we have reasoning behind what we're doing, so. Any other comments? Not, I would entertain a motion to approve first reading of ordinance 243. Motion by Feldheim. Second by Gage. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone, for your input. Thanks again for planning and zoning, their efforts. Next up, we have Mike Scott, landfill manager, and Ted Dickey from NECOG to discuss the grant for a new loader. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. Ted's not here.
Okay, no Ted.
No Ted.
Good camel.
So yeah, we're looking at purchasing a loader here this year, and we're gonna go after some grant funds, so.
Okay.
Loaders range anywhere from $360 to $460, so we'll see where we're at with the grant.
I believe the grant was
We got a
31, if I remember it right in there.
231,000.
That's 50/50.
Okay.
We got a resolution.
And when will that hearing be?
Oh, coming up here, and I think we'll find out by June.
June?
Yep.
Okay.
So,
Good.
a little bit last minute, but if you don't apply, you don't receive, so.
Will there something be surplus then?
We'll see. We might have another county department that could use some of our equipment that we have, but we've got a few loaders that are up there 15 to 18,000 hours, so they've got a lot of hours on them.
Nearing end of life.
Yep.
All right.
How many hours a year do you put on it?
It depends. The ones we use in the trash, I would guess in that 1,000 to 1,500 hour range. The other ones not so many, but we rotate them. We'll get a new one, we'll hang on to that one outside the cell, and then the other loader will be used in the trash. So. And they're out there ways before you can get one too, you know, it's anywhere from 6 months to a year.
Sure. Availability is an issue all over. Any other discussion? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to approve signing the grant application.
I'll move it. Second.
Motion by Dennert, second by Weiss. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right.
Easy.
That's about all I have. I think we got one other, but I think that's later on in your to-do list.
Yep.
So,
Solid waste fees?
yep.
Yep. All right.
All right.
Thank you, Mike.
Yep, thank you.
Don't go in.
All right, next up, we have our consent calendar. Lynn?
Approval of general meeting minutes of March 21st, 2023.
Move.
Motion by Weiss, second by Gage. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Claims and payroll.
Move. Second.
Motion by Weiss, second by Dennert. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
HR report.
Move. Second.
Motion by Feldheim, second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Authorize advertising and set hearing date for special malt beverage for the Brown County Fair Foundation.
Move. Second.
Motion by Feldheim, second by Gage. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Set hearing date for retail on-off sale malt beverage and South Dakota Farm Wine license, along with a retail on-off sale wine and cider license.
Move. Second.
Motion by Dennert, second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Claim assignment.
Move. Second.
Motion by Feldheim, second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Auditor's report of account for February 2023.
Move. Second.
Motion by Gage, second by Dennert. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Approve proposed resolution for solid waste fees.
Mike, you want to address that at all? There any changes?
There are no changes. Those fees that we charge do help maintain those 18 container sites throughout Brown County. They do generate, those fees generate right around $650,000 annually. That covers our contract to haul, take care of the trash at the landfill, and pay for some part-time help to help clean up those sites. I think those fees are sufficient for this year, but I will address those again next year, at the end of this year. Same way with the landfill fees. We'll take a look at those pretty hard again here towards the end of this year.
Okay.
But everything's good to go.
Equipment, materials, fuel, all the rest of that stuff.
Lots of things going on at those sites, you know, whether it's updates to the fire station, like I said, just the maintenance. Yesterday alone, now when the weather's starting to get somewhat nice, you know, we're picking up a trailer full of trash just to pick up from the ground, haul back, unload, go back, finish cleaning up those sites. So we do that Monday and Friday, and more often, probably 3 times a week, once spring really shows up. So
I've heard several people appreciate the fence to try and at least keep it contained within that site, and that's been...
yeah, both sites. The fire station, we got that all lit up now, and we're in the process of getting a building there, electronics there. We'll have that site monitored pretty tight. So I think the fence has helped a lot, and the lighting.
Right.
There's not much on the ground there right now.
Yeah.
So
We knew that was an ongoing process, but people do appreciate what we're doing there.
so it's a pretty nice, clean site right now. So
Yeah.
that's what it takes.
Big contrast to what it was, so it's
So,
a
yeah.
good process.
Takes the funds to do it too, but we got it done.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I'm glad we were able to retain a site down there, and it made a lot of people happy, so.
yep. And there's been some question too on yard waste at that site. No, trash only.
So it still goes up north.
Yard waste still up north,
Or out to the landfill.
or landfill. Yep. So,
All right.
Plant the trees on the
We do.
north side yet?
yep, north side and west side. I've been working with Conservation District to, they've got the trees ordered for me. We'll have them here this spring. I don't know when we're gonna get them in the ground, but we've got some topsoil to place down there yet, but,
Well, spring will give you a 2-day window.
there'll be some sticks showing up there shortly.
For that.
So,
Well, you and your staff do a good job all the way around, so.
all right.
All right, any other discussion? If not, I would entertain a motion. Motion by Gage, second by Weiss to approve the solid waste fees. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thanks,
All right,
Mike.
thank you.
Just quick update, I know
Yep.
we talked about it before, just, we're scheduled to replace the scale out there. Where are we at on it? Just as a...
Well, I'm actually in touch with those scale guys this morning,
Okay,
so
good.
hopefully that's gonna be done this summer.
Okay, I knew that was in process, but I was just not sure.
That's about $100,000, $100,000 to $110,000 to get that job done. So we'll have a temporary scale come in while they tear our old scale out, and
which has served us well. with
It's been in
maintenance.
there since 1992, so
Yeah.
got some life left, just like I do. I've been there that long also.
Yep, but I thought it was worth mentioning, just so everybody knows where we're at.
Yeah, we've
So,
got, that's a big project for us, so.
Yeah.
Do they certify them like so many years?
We certify them annually,
Annually?
yep. But I think the state is every 2 years now,
Huh.
but,
It's a lot of traffic.
so yeah, we run through 35,000 vehicles a year over the scale,
Is that just one way or both ways?
Both ways.
both ways.
Both ways.
So I guess you could say 70,000. So, that doesn't include all our free cleanup material, or customers that come through. So you can add about another 6 to 10,000. So there's anywhere from 40 to 50,000 vehicles through that landfill gate every year, so.
All right, well, thanks for that update.
You bet.
Appreciate
Thank you.
it. Thanks, Mike. Have a good day.
Purchase gravel from the 2022 bid with Hanlon.
Yeah, we're just gonna buy off of last year's bid, it expires on the 1st. And price stays the same, and we're just extending it another year. We've done this several times with different stuff.
Yeah. Based on need, location, hauling.
Everything's the
As always.
same. Yeah, he just doesn't get an increase like everybody else did because he didn't get his bid in time, so.
Needs to be on time.
Yep.
Entertain a motion to approve the contract. Move. Motion by Feldheim, second by Weiss. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, that brings us to the end of our regular agenda. Is there any other business to come before the Brown County Commission this morning? We've had a request for executive session for contracts. Any need for legal that you're aware of?
I got a couple little things I guess.
Updates, okay. Any personnel that anyone's aware of? No, HR did not have anything, so.
And there's one thing
Yes.
before we go out. We attended the Brown County Fair Foundation
Oh,
Hall of Fame banquet there on Saturday, and thought they did a really good job, and just want to thank all the people on the foundation board and the fair office. I know they put a lot of time in outside of work too to make that happen. I thought it was a pretty good event, so just wanted to say thank you to them and the staff out there.
I know they put in a lot of time and effort, and it, from what I understand, it was a great event. I
It was.
couldn't be there, but the foundation recognized the 1986 Fair Board for their efforts and forward thinking in developing the ticket concept back then, and it's kind of made the Brown County Fair what it is today. And I know the inductees were very much appreciative, and it was a great event. So hopefully it'll be an annual event where we can recognize people that have played an important part in making the Brown County Fair what it is.
Good point.
Nothing else, I would entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Move.
Motion by Weiss. Motion by Weiss, second by Dennard. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
All right, if we have to drink beer, I think I can afford to buy a case of beer.
The light's back on.
I have some suspicions that now the bill would be less than 30 or 40 years ago.
Yeah. All right, we're back in session, out of exec with no action as a result. Is there anything else to come before the Brown County Commission this morning?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion by Weiss. Second by Feldheim to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. We are